We're going to talk about weight and conversions between systems. So in the last two sections, just like in the first two sections, we're using that unit fraction, or we're making a specialized form of 1. So when we perform the multiplication, we're not changing the value, but we're changing the units. So that's going to follow with weight and with conversions between systems. Now, as far as weight is concerned, in module 1.1, there was a standard conversion sheet and a metric conversion sheet. The standard and metric sheets, they actually follow through all 4 sections. They're just posted in that first section. So in the next, the section 1.3, I have used, for weight, we're going to use the dry measure conversion. We talked about the liquid measure in section 1.2. In this section, we're going to use a dry measure where 2 pints is 1 quart, 4 quarts is a gallon, 8 quarts is 2 gallons, or also can be called a peck. 4 pecks is 8 gallons. 16 ounces is 1 pound. So notice over here for liquid measurement, 16 ounces with 1 pint. Okay, but as far as dry measure or weight is concerned, 16 ounces, 1 pound, and 2,000 pounds is equal to 1 ton. I've taken the middle part of this formula sheet, and I've actually kind of just embedded it in the lecture notes for today. So in section 1.3, we're going to use the dry measure conversions for weight. And here are some examples that deal with that dry measure for weight. In this example, and here again, this is similar to your problem number 2 in section 1.3, right? We're asked to convert 7 tons to pounds. All right. And I'm going to attempt to fold this over. All right, so we have 7 tons. All right, 7 tons, and I'm going to make a unit fraction. And in that unit fraction, I wish to convert from tons to pounds. And if I look at my formula sheet, there is a direct formula from tons to pounds. So 2,000 pounds is equal to 1 ton. When I set up my unit fraction, I'm going to put tons in the denominator so that when I multiply, I can cross cancel my unit of tons. I'm going to put pounds in the numerator, and I'm going to write out that conversion. 1 ton equals to 2,000 pounds. Once we multiply, our unit of ton will cancel. Right. So notice 7 tons is actually over 1. Right. You can put anything over 1. So now I'm going to multiply straight across. So 7 tons would be 14,000 pounds. Okay. Okay, for the next problem, we deal with a fraction. And this says convert 3 3/4 pounds to ounces. So if I look back at the conversion, there is a direct conversion. 16 ounces is equal to 1 pound. For this problem, since I am dealing with a mixed number, right? A mixed number has a whole number and it also has a fraction. I'm going to convert the mixed number to an improper fraction. So in order to do that, I'm going to take the denominator 4 and I'm going to multiply it by my whole number, That's supposed to be a multiplication. So 4 times 3 is 12. I'm going to add my top number, right? So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 plus 3 is 15. So I can write 3 3/4 pounds as 15 over 4 pounds. Right. So keep in mind that the pounds, it's either in the numerator or attached to the side. So that's 15 over 4 pounds. We're going to convert that to ounces. So I'm going to put pounds in the denominator of my unit fraction. I'm going to put ounces in the numerator. I'm going to write out that conversion. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So when I multiply, right, I can cross cancel. So I'm actually going to cross cancel the unit of pounds. And then when you multiply fractions, you don't need a common denominator. You simply multiply your numerators, and you're going to multiply your denominators. So I'm going to multiply my numerators. I have 16 times 15. So if I just pull up my calculator, 15 times 16 is 240. For my denominator, 4 times 1 is 4. My unit is ounces because we cross cancel out pounds. And now if we divide 240 by 4, we should get 60 ounces. So 3 3/4 pounds is equal to 60 ounces. So we converted that mixed number to an improper fraction. All right, and again, that was similar to your number 6. Problem number 4, it says make the conversion 9 tons to ounces. And if I look back at my formula sheet, I don't have a direct conversion from tons to ounces. I have to convert tons to pounds and then pounds to ounces. All right, so this is 9 tons. First, I'm going to have to convert tons to pounds. And then I'm going to convert pounds to ounces. All right, so for this first unit fraction, I'm going to write out the conversion. 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. And then for that second conversion, 1 pound is 16 ounces. So when we multiply, the unit of tons will cancel, the unit of pounds will cancel, and we're left with ounces. So now I'm going to multiply my numerators. So I'm going to multiply 9 times 2,000 times 16. In my denominator, 1 times 1 is 1. All right, and my unit is ounces, so this would be 288,000 ounces. Okay. So 9 tons equals to 288,000 ounces. Now I could make a conversion on this formula sheet, okay? So I'm just going to write out a rule that converts ounces to tons. So over here on the side, I'm going to convert 1 ton to ounces. Right, so I have 1 ton. So just like we did before, I have to convert tons to pounds and then pounds to ounces. So 1 ton is 2,000 pounds, and then 1 pound is 16 ounces. My unit of tons will cancel, my unit of pounds will cancel. So 2,000 times 16, I believe that should be 32,000 ounces. So I can actually write that in as a conversion. 1 ton is equal to 32,000 ounces. Okay. So if you ever have to convert from tons to ounces, since we have a direct conversion, right, I don't have to use 2 unit fractions. I can only use 1. So let me just show that again with the same problem. Let's say this one. Okay. All right, so over here, I'm going to still convert that 9 tons to ounces. Since I have a direct conversion from tons to ounces, right, 1 ton is 32,000 ounces. I can actually write that out in a unit fraction. So I'm going to put tons in the denominator, ounces in the numerator. 1 ounce is 32,000, 1 ton is 32,000 ounces. So when I multiply, my tons are going to cancel. I'm left with ounces. So if we multiply 9 times 32,000, we should get that same 288,000 ounces. All right. So on your formula sheet, okay, you can actually write this conversion in. Okay, and we're going to do that again. Okay, well, one of the problems later on. Okay, we just use that as a fact from this point going forward. All right, next we're going to talk about the metric system again. So remember that saying, King, I added to this, but it's King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk, where K is for kilo, H is for hecto, then we have deca. Bi is for the base unit. So remember our base units are liter for volume, grams for weight, and meter for length. Right? So when we convert from one unit to the other, it's just a matter of which place in this metric system you're moving, and to your number you must attach that many zeros. All right. So here are a couple of examples. One, number 8 says make the following conversion: 8 kilograms to grams. So using this conversion chart, I must start at 8 kilograms. So 8 kilograms would be here. Right. I want to convert kilograms to grams. So that means I must move the decimal. So in the number 8, right, the decimal is behind 8. So I have to move it once, I'm at hecto. If I move it twice, I'm at deca. If I move it again, I'm at my base unit, which is gram. So to 8, I must add 3 zeros. So 8 kilograms is equal to 8,000 grams. All right. Depending upon which way you move in the chart, you want to add that amount of zeros in your physical number. All right, number 12 says 6,000 centigrams to kilograms. All right. So my base unit is grams. I'm going to find centigrams, which is here, and I'm going to put in 60,000. So just remember, in the number 60,000, that decimal is behind that last zero. Okay. I want to convert from centigrams to kilograms, so that means we must move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to the left. I'm actually going to do this down here. So 60 centigrams is equal to, all right, so my decimal is here, and I want to move the decimal 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times to the left. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So 60,000 kilograms is 0.6 kilograms. All right, so I moved that decimal 5 places to the left. All right, any questions about those two? So I don't believe I actually have this metric conversion chart on any one of those formula sheets. So you may also want to jot this down. So just the mnemonic for that is King Henry died by drinking chocolate milk. And the first letters allude to the prefixes for your base unit. All right. And this is the very last problem for 1.3. So it says Coca-Cola bottlers application. The soft drink Coke is sold throughout the world, although the size of the bottle varies between different countries. I don't know how true that is or not, but I guess it is true. A six-pack is sold everywhere. For Israel, find the number of liters in a six-pack for the given bottle size. So if I look at Israel, the bottle size is 350 milliliters. We're asked to find out how many liters are in a six-pack. So now what they actually give you on the chart is one bottle size. So what you must do is you must multiply that one bottle size times 6, right? So if one bottle is 350 milliliters, if we multiply that times 6, right, because we want to know how many liters in a six-pack, 350 times 6 is 2,100 milliliters. We have to convert 2,100 milliliters to liters. Okay. So the thing about this is they're actually showing you just one bottle, but you want to know how many liters or milliliters are in a six-pack, so you have to multiply that 350 times 6, right? So a 6 liters in Israel, or excuse me, 6 bottles at 350 milliliters will give you a total of 2,100 milliliters. Now we're going to convert 2,100 milliliters to liters. So I'm going to go back to our chart. And I'm going to write in 2,100 milliliters. Right. I want to convert milliliters to liters, so I have to move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So in 2,100, if we move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the right, you should get 2.1 liters. So 2,100 milliliters is about 2.1 liters. Okay. So just as a point of reference, you can buy a liter soda in the store. So 2.1 liters would be 2 liters and just a little touch over there. All right. So that would equal to a 6-pack in Israel. All right, any questions about the last problem? All right, now in the next section, conversion between systems. If I go back to XYZ homework, there was a conversion between systems. I thought I had a formula sheet on here somewhere. Yeah, on the second, that metric system, there are some conversions between systems. For example, this says from SI, which is the American system, to English, 1 kilogram is equal to 0.61 miles. Okay, we have all these conversions from the metric system to the SI. And then there's some over here. The developers for XYZ homework this year, because this has not been here before, they'll give you the conversions. I would strongly advise you to use the conversions that they give you. Therefore, your answer is going to come out right. If you use, let's say, Google to, find a conversion, or if you use one of the conversion sheets, they may be a little bit off from what you actually see here. Okay. And if you've been looking up conversions between the metric and SI systems, you notice that a lot of the formula sheets are like different. Okay, they may be like a decimal off or something to that effect. So to standardize everything in this course, we're going to use the given formulas. So here are the given formulas. We have 1 foot is 2.54 centimeters. So again, we have the U.S. system of measurement conversion to the metric system. 3.28 feet, that's 1 meter. 1 mile is 1.61 kilometers. Whenever you have square units, or your unit is squared, that's always an area measurement. So remember that the area is the amount of surface a figure has. So 1 square inch is 6.45 square centimeters. 1.196 square yards is 1 meter square. 2.47 acres is 1 hectare. For volume, notice they're in cubic units. Anything in cubic units, that's like capacity, or how much water something can hold. So 1 cubic inch is equal to 16.39 milliliters. 1.06 quarts is 1 liter, and 1 gallon is 3.79 liters. And then for weight, 1 ounce is 28.3 grams, and 2.2 pounds is 1 kilogram. All right, so in the section 1.4, I would strongly advise you to use these conversions. So last year they didn't give you conversions. You had to sort of hunt them down, and then there were problems with the answers being slightly off depending upon what formula sheet you use. All right, so they've graciously added these conversions. All right, so let's take a look. So number 1, bless you, it says make the following conversions rounded to decimal places, and it says use the buttons below to find the necessary conversion units. So here we're asked to convert 1 foot to centimeters. So what I've done is I've already clicked on the necessary conversion because 1 foot and centimeter, they are both lengths. So I'm using the length conversion table. Now, if I look on the table, there is no direct conversion from foot to centimeters. There is a direct conversion from inch to centimeters. So that means that we have to change feet to inches and then change inches to centimeters. So we're going to have to use 2 unit fractions for the first one. All right, so I'm going to start with 1 foot. And if I look at my conversion, I don't actually see conversions from foot to centimeter, but I do see a conversion from inch to centimeter. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change feet to inches. So for my first unit fraction, I'm going to put foot in the denominator because when we multiply, our unit of foot will cross cancel. I'm going to put inch in the numerator. And for my second unit fraction, I'm going to convert inch to centimeter. So inches goes in the denominator and centimeter goes in the numerator. So now I'm just going to write in my formulas. 1 foot is 12 inches. And if I look at my metric conversion, 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters. So now when I multiply, the unit of feet will cancel, the unit of inch will cancel, and I'm now left with centimeters. So I'm going to multiply all of my numerators. So in the numerator, I have, so just keep in mind now, everything can be written out as a fraction. So for 1 foot, I can simply put that over 1 to delineate a numerator and a denominator. So if I multiply all my numerators, 1 times 12 times 5.4, right, 12 times 12 times 2.54. That's going to give me 30.48. So we have 30.48 centimeters. So 1 foot is 30.48 centimeters. Right. Okay. All right, the next one, number 3. It says make the following conversions. We're asked to convert 9 meters to yards. So I kind of picked the problems in this last section that make you use 2 unit fractions. So it's like I'm kind of picking out the most difficult one. So this is number 3, 9 meters to yards. So if you look in our conversion, there is no direct conversion from meters to yards. But there's a conversion from foot to meter. So that means we're going to have to convert meters to feet, and then we can convert feet to yards. Okay. So like some of the conversions, like feet to yard, that's not even on here, but that's one of the basic conversions from length that were in that first section. So I'm going to write this out as 9 meters. So if I use my conversion chart, I can convert meter to foot. And then for my second unit fraction, I can convert feet to yard. So I must use 2 unit fractions. So now if I write in my conversions, 1 meter is 3.28 feet. And for that second unit fraction, 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. Okay. So if I kind of represent 9 meters as a fraction, I can just put 9 meters over 1. When we multiply, we can cross cancel our units. So meters cancels, feet cancels. I can multiply my numerator. So in the numerator, we have 9 times 3.28 times 1. So 9 times 3.28 is 29.52. If I multiply my denominators, 1 times 3 is 3. So remember that our unit is yard. So now I'm going to divide. 29.52 divided by 3 is 9.84 yards. All right, any questions about number 3? All right, number 6. It just says make the following conversions. We are asked to convert 700 cubic inches. So remember that the unit cubed is a volume measurement, right? So it might not be apparent, but I clicked on that volume conversions and it just brought up the conversions from volume. So I do see that there is a direct conversion from cubic inches to milliliters. So 700 cubic inches. And in my unit fraction, cubic inches goes in the denominator. Milliliter goes in the numerator. And if I write out the conversion, 1 cubic inch is 16.39 milliliters. When I multiply, my cubic inches are going to cancel. I can multiply my numerators. 700 times 16.39. I get 11,473 milliliters. Now, just one thing about liters. Liters is always written out in its abbreviated form by a capital L. All right, so notice up here, I do see milliliters, and in the chart is ml. L for liters is always capitalized. All right, so that's 11,473 milliliters. All right, and this is similar to your problem number 5. We're asked to convert 3 square inches to square centimeters. There is a direct conversion from square inches to square centimeters. So I can actually use 1 unit fraction. Now, normally when you're have to use more than 1 unit fraction, normally that stuff is in length. because as far as length is concerned, there were some measurements like 1 foot is 12 inches and that sort of thing. But if you're dealing with cubic inches and volume, that would actually require another conversion. So they actually give you all the conversions you need for area, volume, and weight. All right, so 3 square inches. I can write out my unit fraction. I'm going to put square inches in the denominator and square centimeters in the numerator. And if I write out that conversion, 1 square inch is 6.45 square centimeters. Once we multiply, our unit of inches is going to cancel. I can now multiply 3 times 6.45. And if I attach my unit, I get 19.35 square centimeters for number 5. All right, next we get into weight. And I'm just going to write down a couple of formulas. So this is for weight, temperature. Some formulas for temperature. F is equal to 9/5 C plus 32. And our other formula is C is equal to 5/9 F minus 32. So you would use the first formula if you're given Celsius and you're asked to find Fahrenheit. You'll use a second formula if you're given Fahrenheit and you're asked to find degrees Celsius. All right, so the first formula is to find Fahrenheit. The second formula is to find Celsius. All right, so let's take a look at those conversions. All right, number 9 says make the following conversion. Round to the nearest whole number. We want to convert 55 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. Since I'm trying to find Fahrenheit, I'm going to use this first formula. So I'm just going to write out the formula. So F is equal to 9/5 C plus 32. And I want to substitute 55 degrees for C. So this is equal to 9/5 times C, which is 55 degrees plus 32. Now remember your operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. P says you're supposed to do what's in the innermost parentheses first. So it's please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. So P is for the innermost parentheses, absolute value, or radical. All right. So once we get into like the algebra part, you might see absolute values and radicals. All right. So that's the first thing. So as I look at my equation, this 55 is not an innermost parenthesis. The parentheses allude to multiplication. Okay? There's nothing to simplify inside this parenthesis. All right? That parenthesis means multiplication. E is for exponent. So I don't have any innermost parentheses. I don't have any exponents. M and D come together. It's multiplication and division. I'm going to abbreviate, but it's whichever comes first from left to right. And then A and S are add and subtract. And again, it's whichever comes first from left to right. So you must multiply and divide before you add or subtract anything. Okay, except if you're inside a set of parentheses. So if I compare that to what I'm asked to do, first thing I'm going to do is multiply. So this is not an innermost set of parentheses. This actually is a multiplication operation when you see a number encased in a set of parentheses. So I'm going to multiply this out. So remember, we could treat any number as a fraction. So I can actually put that 55 over 1. Whenever you multiply fractions, you multiply the numerator, you multiply the denominators, and you divide last. So 9 times 55 is 495. I'm going to just put an extra step in. Right, so if I multiply 9 times 55, I get 495. If I multiply 5 times 1, I get 5. If I divide 495 by 5, we get 99. Right, because I got to divide before I can add or subtract. So I divided 495 divided by 5, I got 99. And if you add 99 and 32, I believe you should get 131 degrees Fahrenheit. Right. So 55 degrees Celsius is 131 degrees Fahrenheit. Right. Any questions about that equation? The second one asks to find Celsius if given Fahrenheit. So I'm just going to rewrite the formula. So C is equal to 5/9 F minus 32. Now you might see this formula written a few ways depending upon where you're looking. Okay, but all the formulas should give you the same value. All right, so I'm going to use this formula. So notice that there is a set of parentheses. So we have C is equal to 5/9 times F minus 32, and we're going to substitute F for 158 degrees. So I'm just going to write this out. So this is 5/9, and F is 158 minus 32. So remember the order operations. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. I must simplify what's in this innermost parentheses first because there's something within the parentheses to simplify. Notice in the other problem, I didn't have anything to simplify in the parentheses. It was just 55 degrees. All right, so here I'm going to simplify 158 minus 32. So I'm going to bring down 5/9. And 158 minus 32, I believe that should give us 126. Right. So 158 minus 32 is 126. So now when I simplify, remember we can write any number as a fraction. So I can write 126 over 1. Whenever you multiply fractions, you don't need a common denominator. You can multiply your numerators. So I'm going to multiply 5 times 126, and that should give us 630. And my denominator, 9 times 1 is 9. And when we simplify, we should have 70 degrees Celsius. So 630 divided by 9 is 70 degrees Celsius. Any questions about those two? And you may want to write those formulas down because I don't believe they're on those formula sheets. Okay, I don't think they're on the formula sheets. All right, and then this is problem number 12. It says, suppose you're 5 feet 1 inches tall. And I forgot to put the conversions on this one. Let's see. You're 5 feet 1 inches tall. Give your height in meters and centimeters and round to the nearest centimeter. They kind of give you an example. 9 feet 2 inches is 2.79 meters, and that's 2 meters 79 centimeters. So we have to convert 5 feet 1 inch to meters and centimeters. All right, so if I look at the conversion chart, gotta go back up, meters. So this is length. So what we must do is convert inches to meters. So I want to use this for a second. One inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write out a conversion from, instead of from inches to centimeters, I'm going to write out a conversion from inches to meters. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take 2.54 centimeters, and I'm going to go back up. Right, that's 2.54 centimeters, and I'm going to convert it to meters. So in order to convert it to meters, so remember our base unit is meters, I move 2 places to the left. So that means 2.54 centimeters. If I move my decimal once, I'm in front of the 2. If I move it again, then I must place a 0 in front of the 2. That equals to 0.0254 meters. So if 2.54 centimeters equals to 0.254 meters, I can use that. 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters, that also means that 1 inch could equal to 0.0254 meters. So I'm going to use this conversion. So we're going to convert 5 feet 1 inches to inches. Then we're going to convert the inches to meters using this conversion. So the only thing I did here was I took that existing conversion, 1 inch is equal to 2.54 centimeters. I simply converted 2.54 centimeters to meters. All right. So 5 feet, that's equal to how many inches? You got to multiply that 12 times 5, right? So that's 60. Plus the 1 inch, right? Because it's 5 feet, 1 inches. So 5 feet is 60 inches. 1 inch is equal to 1 inch. So 5 feet, 1 inch is 61 inches altogether, right? So now I want to convert 61 inches to meters. All right. So I guess this was the first step. We had to convert 5 feet, 1 inch to inches. The second thing we're going to do is convert 61 inches to meters. So I'm going to write out my unit fraction. So now we've actually developed a conversion from inch to meters, right? So I'm going to put inches in the denominator, meters in the numerator. If I write out my conversion, 1 inch is 0.0254 meters. So if I multiply, the inches are going to cancel. Now I'm going to multiply my numerators. 6 times 0.0254 and I'm sorry, that should be 61 inches, not 6. So that's 61 inches times 0.0254. That equals a 1.5494 meters. We have to express 1.594 meters to centimeters. Right. So now for my whole number, that's going to represent my meter. So this should be 1 meter. And in the directions, I believe they tell us to round to the nearest centimeter. So notice what they did for this example. 2 represent meters, and then my 2 digits after the decimal represent centimeters. So after the decimal, we have 549. So I'm going to round that 4 up to a 5. So I have 1 meter, 55 centimeters. Okay. All right, so if I shrink back down on this, right, we had to convert 5 feet, 1 inches to inches. So we got 61 inches. Then we converted 61 inches to meters. So we had to finesse the conversion a little bit. We set up the unit fraction. We got 1.5494 meters, and we express that in meters and centimeters. The whole number is your meter, and then for centimeters, right, those are first two numbers after the decimal. All right, any questions about number 12? Let's see. I think I did every, let me just double check real quick. 12. That's cubic inch to liters. Okay, cubic inch. Okay. For problem number 13, it says 390 cubic inches, so this would be volume. All right, so I clicked on a little volume measurements. A 390 cubic inch engine has a displacement of how many liters? So we're asked to convert cubic inches to liters. So I'm going to do like the same thing I did on the last problem. Notice that there is a conversion from cubic inches to milliliters, right? But there is no conversion from cubic inches to liters. So what I can do here, and let me just copy this over so I can write on it. All right, and this was number 13. All right, so I'm going to do the same thing. If 1 cubic inch is equal to 16.39 milliliters, then 1 cubic inch is equal to how many liters? Well, if I go back to the chart, the conversion chart, and we had 16.39 milliliters. So if I want to express milliliters as liters, I have to move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the right. So in 16.39, if I move the decimal 1, 2, 3 places to the right, 16.39 milliliters is equal to 0.01639 liters. All right, here it is. So 1 inch is equal to 0.01639 liters. So I'm going to use this as a conversion. So 390 cubic inches. We're to convert cubic inches to liters. And I'm just going to put in the conversion. 1 cubic inch is 0.01639 liters. Once we multiply, the cubic inches will cancel. We're left with the unit of liter. And now if we multiply 390 times 0.01639, 0.01639. It wants us around the 2 decimal places, so we have 6.39 liters.